Do you ever look around at all the tall people and feel uncomfortable? Well, as a 5'7" enjoyer, I do all the time. People are regularly taller than me. And that's what someone's asked on Quora. Do short people feel uncomfortable around tall people? Kate here says, sometimes yes, but we need to learn to adapt. How do you adapt to that? Get some stilts? I am way below most people's eye level, so it's easy to not notice me when I join a group. I am also at face level with most people's elbows. Because of this, I've been elbowed in the face on many occasions. Fortunately, it didn't take long for me to figure out that I need to either loudly screech like a pterodactyl and wave my arms around as I approach groups of people so they're aware of my presence, or be hyper-vigilant around people that use a lot of hand gestures because you're going to get smacked in the face. On second thought, if I start accidentally whacking guys in the crotch while I'm wildly gesturing in conversation, maybe other people be more aware of their limbs. If you're short, start gesticulating violently when you're around someone tall until you hit them in the knob, and then they'll notice that you're there. So Pav here says, yes, it's just awkward having to look up at people all the time. And then there are other bizarre instances that spawn from being short. I never knew I was short until I was around 16. What, when everyone was just taller than you? That's because prior to that, I hadn't been short. Okay, Pav grew to that height, and then everyone else kept growing. That's exactly what happened to me. I hadn't been short, and I stopped growing at the age of 11. That's quite early. And then became short. Once when I was at school, some girls were talking about how they felt about their height. I opened my mouth and was about to say I was satisfied with my height until they said, don't worry, you'll grow. I shut my mouth confused. I've had no idea I was short until that moment. Later on I'd be pushed out the rooms as other people sang the lyrics to Randy Newman's song, Short People Got No Reason to Live. That is harsh. I'm going to try and say this. Gopal Krishna says, speaking for myself, not at all. I experience a thrill when I encounter a tall person, and the first reaction is sheer admiration, never jealousy. He is admiring that tall man. He's saying, wow, what a majestic tall creature. If only I could be like that one day. I may have forgotten the names of the tall person I met and interacted with, but I've never forgotten their height. Wow, the tall people leave an impression on this man. We've got this picture here. Never. Being short gives me a big advantage. All the people I meet have to bow down their heads to me. That sounds quite regal. Now that's confidence. Learn from Peter Dinklage.
I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
Maybe I am short on the outside, but I am giant on mentality. So Eugene says, it depends on the short person. I'm 6'5" and I have the male version of resting bitch face. While I can look very intimidating due to my resting bitch face, I am what is known as a gentle giant. Little man syndrome, also known as Banty Rooster syndrome, I have never heard of that, is a real issue affecting some, but not at all, men of shorter stature. I was bullied relentlessly in elementary and middle school by a group of runty, sawed-off boys who suffered with Banty Rooster syndrome. The worst boss I've ever encountered in my workplace was 5'3". That is a short boss. Absolute twat waffle. Constant snide comments, digs, criticisms, despite not being on his team. 'Twas a happy day when he retired, and was even happier when I came across him a couple years later at a Home Depot. I saw him fruitlessly trying to reach one last item on the high shelf. Oh, he's really reveling in this guy. I could have reached over his head and either pushed it back further on the shelf, or I could have bought it out of spite. He hates this guy. I could have just ignored him and walked on past. Instead, I handed it to him and told him it was nice to see him. He clearly wasn't. He wanted to screw him over. So we've got Sean Freeman here, loving being the short boy here around the giant female he's next to. I am a 5'4" male and my wife is 6'1". We've been married for 10 years and have a 9-year-old daughter. We're all very happy. I'm originally from the UK and she's an American. Not sure if that makes a difference. We used to notice the giggles in restaurants, etc. Especially when she wore high heels, which I love her to wear. Wow, he's really turned on. But I think we're used to it now and don't notice. I obviously don't feel uncomfortable around tall people and obviously. Probably 90% of the US population is taller than me. So he says he's obviously uncomfortable, except he doesn't look uncomfortable there. Yes. Yeah, he looks really uncomfortable there. So Katya says, I'm 157 centimetres tall, 5'2", which means that here in Finland I'm often the shortest adult in the room. It's basically a child. I've repeatedly noticed that I don't really pay attention to how tall people are around me. Most of them are taller than me anyway, so they make an impression of being tall, whether they are 10 or 30 centimetres different. I can't say it's very practical, but people generally have to bend down a bit to speak to me. But all I have to do is look up a bit, again like a cat. It just reminds me of my cat looking up at me. After all, that's all I can do. There's no way to add centimetres to my height. Psychologically speaking, I have honestly never understood the issue. Being short is awesome. It feels compact and somehow intrusive, as if my body were more densely packed with mind and soul. This sounds like this guy's just coming up with some excuses to allow him to cope with it. Rin Sonia, emotionally, not for 1 second. I find oftentimes that if someone is as tall as I am short, they are often much more uncomfortable about their height than I am. I'm 5'1", or short, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, that is short. The only time I've ever felt uncomfortable about it is when I felt physical neck discomfort from 5 years of looking up while talking to my 6'5", now ex-boyfriend. It took quite a few chiropractic adjustments to help with that. I guess the only way to deal with that is to wear stilts and wear a clown costume. Sunny says, no, it's super cool, especially when you take a picture of a basketball player and you look like a dwarf. They do look like children by comparison. So Kumar says, look at him, he's 6'3", and I'm 5'7". I mean, you're close to the camera. You look bigger just because he's in the distance. We are friends. We go around places and hang out. As a human, it's very much normal to have such uncomfortable kind of feeling around tall people, but it's fine. Not a big thing to worry about. Either you are tall or short or fat or skinny, it doesn't matter. You have to be happy with the way you are. That is true, because you are who you are. Alright, so Neha, I think that's how you say it, says, being a short girl of 5'1". Earlier I used to feel uncomfortable among tall people. I won't lie about it. Finally, someone who's honest. Do not try to be tall. You were not meant to be just tall. You were meant to bring a change on the earth. Don't let anyone describe you as just being tall. Don't worry about that because no one's describing you as tall. Do you know who this girl is? No, I've no idea. She is Jyoti Amgi, 24-year-old Indian woman and height of 2'7". Reminds me of Hasbulla. And yet she is the world's shortest woman, holding Guinness Book record. Her wax statue is also present in the Celebrity Wax Museum. That is a creepy wax model. I'm sorry, but wax models are a bit scary. She was a regular school. She was a regular school? I'm not sure she was a school. She was going with plenty a number of friends. Is this real or is that a wax picture again? That has to be a wax picture. Following Amgi's 18th birthday, she was officially declared the world's smallest woman. There's Hasbulla. Maybe that could be a nice match.
You smelled my nose, I knew it. You got my nose right so good.
So Shreya says, yes, she does sometimes feel awkward, but worry not because I make up for it with my startling personality. It's not very startling, that just looks like you're taking a picture for a MySpace profile picture. Here you go, someone else who's inspired by Tyrion Lannister. So answer 1, never feel awkward. Tyrion Lannister, he is the strongest by brain, and he is still alive till the last season. He is short. Arya Stark, one of the strongest Stark in Game of Thrones, she is short. Lady Lyanna Mormont, fear nothing, she is smart. I can't believe I just said that. Smart? Oh, everybody shut up. Lyanna is talking. Now, real life stars. I just wanted to say, yes, these people are short, but if you've watched Game of Thrones, then you've got the Hound. and the mountain, and they've got scenes where like the mountain's popping someone's eyes out. That is a weird picture. I haven't even read any of this, but that's just a funny freeze frame, almost like she's either got incredible finger strength and able to hold that position, or she's about to smash her back on the bar there during gymnastics. But anyway, I think I've had enough of Quora for one day. It's always a bit of a weird ride looking through these articles. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Press subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.